October the 15th, 2023. Guys, a cool day here in central Mississippi. It's been 59 all morning, and now it is noon Central Time. Overcast, not complaining though. What you're looking at is gasprices.aaa.com/news. And what they're talking about is they give you the national average of gas prices, depending on what state you live in. And they also have news articles, and they have gas calculators. If you're going to make a trip, you can kind of use that. And it's going to give you an idea of what it's going to cost you traveling through different states there and back. That's not why I'm here. I'm not affiliated with AAA as far as I don't get paid for mentioning their website. But I do use them on my car, on our vehicles. And I tell you what it did. You're not looking at that much a year. But if you have one breakdown, lock your keys in your car, need gas, any type of need towing, it pays for itself that first time. Then you've got the rest of the year to deal with it. But what it did for us, we had been with State Farm for several years with our car and truck insurance. It was about $300 a month for both of them. And when we joined AAA, they offered us insurance with better coverage for $150 for both vehicles. So it actually paid for itself. We got our insurance cut in half. Again, I'm not affiliated with it, and that's not why I'm here. I do recommend them, though. But you can see right here, it says today's national gas average is 3.601. There's a reason that I'm here. This is about to become critical information as of today's date. Notice the news article. It says gas prices fall despite clouds of war. This is going to be very important. This is why I'm here. Coming out of D.C., it says domestic pump prices maintain their daily decline despite the uncertainty rippling through the oil market in the days since Hamas and Israel tied up. Oil prices have risen a few dollars per barrel, and they have. And I'll put a link to this page. This is not the news section. This is where it kind of lands on when you go to gasprices.aaa.com. And it will give you the prices of gas in your area. Again, the national average is $3.6 per gallon. And you can see the red areas are higher. I think California leads it out at $5.627 a gallon. And then all of the red states are like this on that West Coast. 4.5, Washington 4.9, Idaho a little cheaper, 3.9, Montana 3.9, Utah 3.9, Nevada 4.7, Arizona 4.3. As you move across, you can go to your states. Now, the lowest, I think, is Delaware here at $3.07 a gallon. And Mississippi, where I'm at, 3.079, just 0.9 or 0.009 cents higher per gallon. Again, this is going to be a problem in the near future, especially without our strategic reserve. And I think all of this has been planned. Now, let's look at the futures that will be opening in the morning on CNBC. This is closed out yesterday on the 14th. That was the last update anyway. And what you're seeing is a 30-day chart, 1 month of oil and gas. This is price per barrel. Back here on September 26th, we were at $93.68 a barrel. We've seen it drop, guys. See this? All the way down, the low point, 82.31. Now, since the conflict started rising here. Then we had a drop. Now it's starting to rise back up to 87.69 dollars per barrel. What they're thinking about is that this conflict, and I'm going to show you the reasoning behind it and the dangers involved with it, this could go to $300 a barrel very quickly. That would put the low averages above $12 a gallon. Now calculate that into your budget, especially if you're driving to work, especially if you're commuting long distances, or if you own your own truck and you're paying the fuel expenses. Imagine that. You're talking about 4 times increase per gallon at $300. And again, it can happen quickly, and I'm going to show you how. But if you think about that impact, say if you're paying, depending on the size of your tank, $60 to fill it up, $70, on the regular car. And then, of course, your SUVs and stuff, you're going to get up higher. Or if your car has premium gas, you're already in the 70s. But imagine going to $12 plus a gallon, 4 times that. So you're suddenly at $240, $250 to fill your car up. How much of your check is that going to eat up? You might want to think about those things and be as conservative as you can, because I think all of this is on purpose. The drop that we saw since the war began with Ukraine and Russia, I think was on purpose, bringing it down. Elections are coming. Also, they're depleting the strategic reserve for the U.S. has for backup, shutting down drilling pipelines. You know the list. And when you drop your prices in gas, people start traveling more, using more up, digging into the last of the reserves if we're not careful. That's what they want. They want to deplete it. They want to deplete the military, the ammunition that we have, everything, the food on the shelves. And that's another point about this. When you go to that type of price, and you're looking at right now, diesel is about $2 higher per gallon than a regular gas. So you may be $13, $14, $15 a gallon for diesel at that point. The trucking industry will not be able to operate. The shelves, which are already getting bare, will become empty very quickly. It's a choke point situation, and they've got their hands around our necks as tightly as they can right now. Now, in the video last night, we talked about what the real conflict will be. It will not be limited to Hamas in Palestine, or in the Gaza Strip, We're talking about Hezbollah, the Iranian guards, and everyone. And they said if the U.S. stepped in to help Israel attack Gaza, then they were going to get involved, remember? And, their society there's a lot of martyrdom and glory behind that. If you die for the cause, you die for Allah, whatever it is, there's a lot of glory that they really push on all troops with medals and Purple Hearts and things like that. And really, by the time you get back home and you need the VA, they more than likely have just about forgotten your name. Anyway, Iran state broadcaster and the Iranian Guards, IRGC, Fars news agency, they're calling on Iranian citizens to sign up to be sent to war against Israel. So they've got that mentality. Iran has opened recruitment offices for volunteers who strengthen the axis of resistance in the war against Israel. Earlier today, an Israeli official revealed that Iran is trying to move strategic weapons to or through Syria to open a second war front. You're already dealing with Hezbollah to the north. This development comes after the double warning and ultimatum sent by Iran to Israel, according to 2 diplomatic sources. They actually went through the United Nations, if you read more about this. And then the UN contacted Israel, just to make it legal, I think, or to bring as many people in as they could. Iran sent a message to Israel on Saturday stressing that it does not want a further escalation in the Hamas-Israel war, but that it would have to intervene if the Israeli operation in Gaza continues. 2 diplomatic sources, again, with knowledge of the situation, told Axios. Iran's message, which was sent to Israel through the UN, comes as the Biden administration tries to prevent Iran and Hezbollah from joining the war. Now, another oxymoron, after billions and billions have gone to Iran of our tax dollars, it's a clown world. That's all I can say. And we're the ones being played for clowns. But what they're doing, guys, when you see the money sent to Iran and you see the attack here, what is going to be the end result? Of course, millions of lives lost. No telling what else. But the petrodollar, because the price of oil will rise again. They will sacrifice everything to keep that petrodollar in place and the price of oil skyrocketing so they can continue to fund their deadly deeds. Now, they've called the Israel National Security Advisor. They've told them this message. They told them about the red lines in the sand, that if they continue to attack Hamas or the Palestinians in Gaza, then they will get involved. Now, Israel's prime minister, their office has declined to comment. Iran's foreign minister did not immediately respond to a request for comment. But what they're talking about is when they met earlier, they told a briefing with reporters in Beirut on Saturday that Israel must stop the crimes against civilians in Gaza. That's their words, because it may be too late in a few hours. And they're exactly right. They're not going to announce the moment this happens, but you saw from the video last night, Navy, Air Force, Army, everyone's getting involved from different nations. Now, guys, this information is coming from warnews247.gr. The foreign minister of Iran met with the leader of Hamas in the Qatar city, or capital city of Doha. The fighting between Hamas and Israel will turn into a regional war if Iran gets involved either directly or indirectly, such as through a militant group in Syria or by backing any Hezbollah decision to fully join the fighting. Now, switching to Zero Hedge, guys, and this is an article today. It was authored by Thomas Malanen via Substack. He said, on Tuesday, I published a post on X which summarized an economic worst-case scenario for the Israeli-Palestinian war. It included 10 points. Guys, it's a very precise, clear, straight-to-the-point article. It says, number one, the conflict escalates into a regional war with the U.S. becoming directly involved. Number two, OPEC responds with an oil embargo. Guys, do you remember when OPEC was formed? It was during the 1973 war between Israel, I think Syria, Jordan, and Egypt. Then they formed OPEC. That's how it came about, to protect themselves and to retaliate against what was happening in Israel. Number three, Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz. Guys, that's where most of the world's oil comes through. Now, again, Biden has not implicated in any way that he's going to restore the strategic reserve. But if he was forced to, or the next administration wanted to, if you shut the Strait of Hormuz down, it's going to make that nearly impossible. A couple of ways you could do it. Iran, and we'll read it that here, you could just shut it down, say anything comes down or through here is going to get sunk, or they could do something to damage the straits there, but then that wouldn't benefit them at all because they would lose their exporting altogether. The price of oil reaches $300 a barrel if those straits are closed. Now, this is in order. Number five, Europe succumbs into a full-blown energy crisis due to LNG shortage, liquid natural gas. They just blew up another pipeline, guys, I think, going to Finland. Do you know what, if the weather reports coming out or the forecast coming out for this winter is as bad as they say in the Northern Hemisphere, that's going to become very important. And the U.S. is saying that our levels are so low we can't really export much. And then you've got Leviathan in the Mediterranean, which is controlled by Israel. And they've already shut down a lot of pipelines going south from there. But it's saying a massive spike in energy prices reinvigorates inflation, with central banks responding accordingly. Now, the banks are going to make a lot of killing in the oil fields, or the oil industry will. And think about where the politicians' money is probably drifting to as far as their stocks. You think it might be oil, military, industrial complex? Just saying, because a lot of them are invested in that. You can look it up. It's no secret information. But with oil, again, war and oil, they would make a killing at $300 a barrel. So would the oil industry. They have already seen with the spikes record profits. But this massive spike in energy prices that reinvigorates inflation, with the central banks responding, has already, and again, the clown world, when I knew it as soon as they said we're going to raise interest rates to curb inflation. They could have said any other reason than that, and maybe people could have went along with it. But when you raise interest rates, you don't curb inflation, you cause inflation. You cause hardships. People can't borrow money, banks can't loan it. Middle class gets wiped out, and the wealthy become much richer. They can't take that money with them. Financial markets and the global banking sector collapse. Debt crisis engulfs the U.S., forcing the Federal Reserve to do what? Enact yet another financial market bailout. That's incorrect. Now it's a market bail-in, thanks to the Dobbs Law. Petrodollar trade collapses. Hyperinflation emerges. Now, this guy's got it right. I said, I said that I think that them trying to prop up the petrodollar has a lot to do with this. But in his analysis, after all of these things happening, again, something backfires on their strategy. The petrodollar trade collapses. It's already on the verge of non-existence because so many nations have gone against it. Then hyperinflation emerges. Number 10. Well, that looks like, really, if you total up everything on this list, looks like hyperinflation is emerging. But they're talking about, at that point, guys, you can't fill up your car. A tank's going to cost you $240, $250 average. Can't get to work, can't pay your bills. You will have nothing in like it. That's where we're going with this. So how do you prepare? Well, we've said for years on this channel, make sure you got plenty of water or the ability to filter it, which, we cover that. And you got food supplies, guys, that have a shelf life. Most of the stuff that we have on our website is 20 to 30 years. That would get you through just about any crisis. But any way you can preserve food, because when this happens and the trucks can't get to the grocery store because of the fuel prices, then there's not going to be anything there to buy, even if you have money. You're getting into a Mad Max situation. And by the way, there was a internet hack on one of the major truck lines here in the U.S. a couple of days ago that supplied a lot of grocery store chains. Most of them are not the Walmart giants, but the other stores that you see, those smaller versions in the smaller towns. There's a company that supplies them all over the nation. They got hacked. Their truckers got stuck in the location they were at because they could not get the orders to unload or where to go to reload and where to deliver that if they could get to it. So it shut down quite a bit of supply, not to the giants, whoever hacked this, not to the giant markets, but to the small town stores. We have one here in our town, 10 miles south in another city, there's a Walmart. But here, just a local grocery store. It's been here forever. But, guys, that's just where we're at. And so how quickly can we escalate into that Mad Max situation where the cars are going to be lined up on the interstate, out of gas. People are going to be fighting to the death for petrol and food. It's not going to be safe to do anything unless you're with a group that's heavily protected. And when people get hungry, they lose their mind. They'll do anything. Your best friends, your neighbors, will kill you to get a sandwich. That's where we're going. I just hope everyone's prepared. And to be honest with you, I don't think any of us can fully prepare for that. But do the things that you know you've got to have. Food, water. You're going to need medical supplies, bandages, antibiotics, anything like that. And then if you have medicines like you're diabetic or high blood pressure, whatever it is, you may want to try to stock up on that if your physician will let you, or either dig heavily into any natural sources of minerals, vitamins, plants, whatever it is that may have similar effects to the medicine that you may not be able to get to. And there's things you can do with high blood pressure and all. Change your diet. And it's going to be the survivors that are paying attention that make it through this. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.